Shabbat Shalom, y'all. I hope you're doing well this evening. It's Friday night when I'm filming this. I don't know when you're seeing it, but the energy of Shabbat will be with you through this message, which will hopefully be an energy of peace and reflection and spiritual renewal and nourishment. I'm going to say my Shabbat blessings over my candles and my wine and my challah bread. After this, I'm going to maybe do a little dancing and maybe some journaling work and settle in for the night. So yeah, but before that, we're going to talk about our extended message for the weekend. So on Instagram earlier, I posted our reading. If you don't already, you can follow me there at Liz_Taylor_Magick. And yeah, if you don't already, subscribe to this channel if you like this content and like this video, subscribe, share, comment, do all the things. That really helps these messages get out to other people. And by just, pressing a button, you can join in the effort to spread the light. So thank you for that ahead of time. And also thank you for anyone who's ever donated to this channel or supported me in any way. Links to those things are in the description box below. Also, if you are ever interested in To Be Magnetic, which is something that I reference a bunch, I have an affiliate link below. Their podcast is called To Be Magnetic Expanded. And so if you have never heard of them, they are great for unblocking subconscious patterns that are holding you back and helping you get to the bottom of the root of those issues. And while you're doing this deep transformational work, it's actually also helping you manifest the things that you want to call in too. So it's making you more magnetic. So they have a membership. It's like $30 a month, or you can pay upfront for the year or whatever you want to do. But I love it. They have all different workshops for all different categories of the things that you want to work on. Love, money, shadow, getting more like aware of like who you are authentically. Right now, they just finished a magnetic self challenge, and I think that they're going to leave it open for like 6 months or so. So that's still open. But if you're interested, those links are below. So any references and resources that can help you. Okay, so let's get into it. So from the Radiant Oracle or Radiant Sun Oracle, we pulled Empathy, the moon in Pisces. And so that card has been coming up a lot. And apparently over the last few weeks, there has been something within our initiation process that has been triggering us in such a way that has probably made us want to be very attached or controlling or make us feel insecure and want that sort of like reassurance or that illusion of control, because this empathy card keeps coming up and other cards keep coming up around it, talking about breath and breathing and air and space. And, I think it's about like giving something a little bit of space or holding space for it with compassion, with your own personal growth. It's like, not forcing it along, but just taking it as it comes, being, giving yourself grace and giving yourself compassion and empathy. But there may be other, elements within your life that require that as well. We'll go more into detail about that. And I would highly encourage you to read the post today. I always cut and paste the written content into the video description box below, which maybe gives some points that I forget to talk about when I'm speaking to you guys. So we got that moon in Pisces, empathy. Followed by indecision, which is Venus in Libra in its home sign. Followed by intuition, which is Mercury in Cancer. And then we got defense, which is Mars in Taurus. And I've noticed about the Radiant Sun, the keywords are always a lot more harsh and extreme than the actual meanings of the cards, so don't feel too worried. Underneath empathy, we got 5 of Wands, which the artwork spoke to me really strongly in this card with this. So we'll just come back to that. Underneath indecision, we got the Magician. Underneath intuition, we got Justice, which is a Libra card. Magician, Gemini, Aries. If you hear weird noises, it sounds like my neighbors are vacuuming across the wall. I can hear them like rolling it across the floor. Underneath defense, we got 7 of Swords. Okay. They're really giving it some elbow grease. So whatever is going on, we need to clean up our patterns, which is a big overall part of this message, is that we have this opportunity to see these triggers come up, which is basically like here is the thing that's connected to the subconscious belief, the limiting belief that's holding you back. This is the exact thing that you need to heal right now. Here it is. It's like making it so easy for us. It's like a highlighter. It's served to us on a silver platter right now. So subconscious patterning, deeply ingrained conditioning, just things that we saw in our early childhood growing up from our closest, most intimate, family dynamics, things that we watched, our parents, how they interacted with one another, what they talked about, I mean, they weren't fully cooked at that age. They were young too when you were young. So they were talking about things and their perspectives in front of you. What were you absorbing? They might have evolved since then, but they may have left you with these things that you were too young to process or contextualize. And so you may have drawn conclusions that were placed in the unconscious that have been like unconscious motivators in the way that you have major decisions or, perceived things or, how you have filtered your experience through life. So those things are coming up into our awareness, which also means they're coming up into other people's awareness. So the overall message here is clearly decide what you want so that it will come to you now. We'll get more into that, but I wanted to just say that before I forgot. It's like clearly decide what you want so it can come to you now. There's this self-doubt that's creeping in, or second guessing ourselves, or wanting something conditionally, like, well, I'd want to, do this if this, but not, otherwise. Like, it's good to be specific, but also you're putting like conditions on the universe and limitations on what you can receive. So for instance, I want to start this business, but I only want to if it's only gonna do this and this and this, and it's gonna be not require certain things from me. Or I want to be in a relationship with blah, blah, blah kind of person, but only if it's exactly the way that I think that it should look like according to my timeline. You know what I mean? Like very conditional things. I want to invest in this, this way to grow wealth, but only if I know that I'm going to get a guaranteed return. And it's like the image that I got this morning when I was thinking about when I was writing this was that like when you go cliff jumping and you jump off of a rock face, you can't be wishy-washy. You have to fully commit and take a leap and put both feet out there and let go completely. Or else if you try to keep one foot back, you're not going to clear the rocks and you're going to fuck yourself up and you're going to maybe get killed or get really hurt. So it's not going to work out. You can't keep one foot on the ground or you'll fuck yourself. So you have to take a leap of faith. You have to go all in with the universe, with your vibration. You can't be wishy-washy or else you don't have vibrational resonance with the thing that you want. You are being tepid. You're being like in and out, oscillating. So it's like you need to clearly decide what you want not be conditional about it, be unwavering, and be like, have conviction and go all in, and then accept the risk. Accept that if it doesn't work out, then you'll pivot and like something else will be fine. The key to spirituality is like going all in and being gung-ho, but then kind of being unattached to like, well, we'll just see how it goes kind of thing. It's like, it's wear it loosely, but like put all your gusto in, put all your conviction in, put all your might into what you're doing. But like, be like, let go of attachment to how things go and don't get competitive. And we'll go into that now. So empathy card talks about like the questioner, which would probably be us, approaching our situation from a perspective of caring and sharing and thinking about the higher perspective or the highest good of all, or the highest, the higher good or the greater good, or maybe putting someone else's needs before your own selfish ego, desire, or agenda. We need to, this week is all about surrendering our ego's will to the care of the higher self and letting that higher consciousness start to embody. We need to start embodying that in the way that we show up in our lives, so that we can prepare the vessel to have affinity with the light, so that we can find affinity and resonate with the highest level of fulfillment for us, right? So we have to practice what's called restriction. And when we practice restriction, we restrict the body's desire to receive for the self alone. We restrict the body consciousness to reach for instant gratification or instant relief or instant pleasure, bypassing a process of earning, right? Which leads to bread of shame. If we receive light or take what we haven't earned, it leads to chaos and resentment, right? So right now, there's a situation that has been asking us, or like our progress, right? Our journey, it is asking us to allow for space and to think more in broad strokes about showing up in little ways consistent on a daily basis, rather than putting the pressure on the thing to yield results super fast by trying to cram and make it happen overnight. Like, if you have a business or a dream that you're building, don't put the pressure on your baby to support you. You support the baby by having a job or a way to create resources and money for yourself that doesn't put that pressure on your dream. That can be applied to a lot of different things. Say the whole staff at work is like going at your bosses for something. Like, maybe try to understand things from how your boss feels and how they're trying to be a leader and how they have to manage everyone else's needs as well. So try not to be selfish. If there are triggers coming up, right? It's like when we're practicing that restriction, it's instead of turning away from the trigger or bypassing it or numbing out or running away or avoiding it, we're following it to see what it's really trying to reveal to us, right? So we're not bypassing the process. We're sitting in the discomfort by facing it. We're not numbing out. We're not avoiding, right? If there's something that we want, we're not going to cut corners and go like skip steps to get there, right? And blow our shot. We're going to do things the right way. We're going to go step by step, gradually, little by little. And when we are thinking of the greater good or the bigger vision, it's like we might have to think about just giving and sharing unconditionally without expecting results or something like playing out exactly like you want to, or guarantees or certainty. We have to just do it. We have to give from a consciousness of sharing. We had that soulless splendor in the middle of the week. This is again that same thing. It's like showing up and putting others' needs before yourself. This card also talks about having an ear to the zeitgeist and having a sense of what is desired by the public, what's fashionable, what will meet a need, what will meet a desire. This is the empathy, like having an empathic and intuitive talent and psychic talent for like reading like what's going to be trendy, what's going to be hot. So there might be something that you need to create that's like people are asking you for it, or like tune into what people want from you, what spirit is guiding you and leading you to do, but what are others asking you for as well. Okay, so there's kind of multiple layers of how this card relates to this card. So the empathy card, this also talks about just being a friend, and like just enjoying a moment, enjoying the moment, being a friend, being a caring friend and a listener, right? Being there for someone who might be in distress, and being a supportive, nurturing, caring person, sensitive to others' feelings. A person with a moon in Pisces has very sensitive feelings. They can be hurt very easily, but they're also very resilient. They're also sensitive to others' pain. So if you are, expressing your pain to a person with a moon in Pisces, be careful that you are doing that in an empathic way, that you're not dumping all of that pain and like onto them as well, because they're going to feel it like it's theirs. So hold back a little bit, or like be aware, be self-aware. If you need to communicate feelings with someone with that sign, without dumping all your stuff on them or projecting all of it at them, because it will invoke a defense mechanism in them that might cause them to shut down or avoid, or, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Okay. In this 5 of Wands card, when these two came up together, we see like the 5 of Wands is like an inner conflict, or an inner conflicting desire, or like being torn in 2 directions, or having a bunch of things that you want, but you don't know how to prioritize them. That's what's going on the inside with this card. On the outside, what's going on with this card is competing goals, or people with a conflict of interest, or competition for one thing. The person in this red vest is like surrounded by people who are just chomping at the bit. It's like they're clamoring to get this person's attention, their resources, their time. Everybody wants something from this person. Everybody feels entitled. They're like, pay me my money, give me my thing, do this, do this. Here we have this person over there trying to get in this person's ear to influence them. And so it's like, there's something about this situation that has this energy about it of like grappling and desperation. And so it's like, instead, you need to be this. You need to take a step back from, because like if you're going after a goal, then that goal is like for instance, if everyone's auditioning for a role and they're all clamoring at the director, telling them like why they're going to be the best, why they're going to be the best, why they're going to be the best. The person who's going to have the most appeal is the person who's standing over here calm, cool, collected, knowing they've got all the resources. They've got it all going on. They demonstrate that in their essence, in the way that they conduct themselves, but they're not jumping in on all of this. Because what I noticed was that following this minor arcana were 2 major arcana cards that had a lot of weight and a lot of sovereignty to them. And that's like the solution of this. It's like, don't jump in and be competitive. It's like, do your thing with use all your talent and all your resources and all your wherewithal to do your thing with absolute confidence and certainty, because this indecision, this is like, all of these inner conflicts and, like having, being of like 2 minds and not being able to decide. It's like, clearly decide what you want, get your mindset, your heart set, get in alignment, get all of that energy and intention into alignment, and don't waver. Have absolute confidence and certainty, and stay and sustain and ground in that. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me is the verse related to this card. So yes, this magician here is like major arcana energy. This magician is like, I've got this in the bag. I know, I have certainty that what is mine cannot be taken away from me. And I am a servant of the Almighty. I'm a vessel of the Creator. And so I have affinity with the light. And these people who are in fear and lack and scarcity and doubt are not in affinity with the light. So I'm going to have empathy on the target of what I want, or the attention of the employer that I'm trying to get, or the person that I want to get their attention, whoever or whatever this is about. Maybe you want to work with someone, or maybe you're trying to get a fellowship somewhere or something, right? Something that people are clamoring after. You want to make sure that your energy is sovereign and not in desperation. And this 5 of Wands is like conflict and desperation. It's like, don't muck up your energy by getting involved with it, because the 7 of Swords is like getting swindled, getting robbed. Don't be robbed of what's really yours, because that's what this card talks about, because you fell out of vibration, right? Don't let fear rob you of the fulfillment of what is yours, because you fear that you're going to lose it. Don't let doubt rob you of the fulfillment of what is yours, because you doubt that it can happen, or that it will happen, or that things can be different than they were. Don't let scarcity rob you of what is yours, because you think that you are not enough, or that you are inadequate, or that you don't have enough time or resources or whatever, because you surely do. You surely do. And so the moment that you clearly decide that, and you stay with that energy, and you put the power of all your conviction in. So we're in what I would say is probably creation phase 2, and teetering between 2 and 3. And that is when you have to put all your energy into something, and you don't see an end in sight, right? You know it's a long haul. And so you sustain that energy by being consistent, but you keep showing up and you keep giving it your all, but you have to keep putting your passion in. You have to keep putting your desire into it. You have to keep your desire strong without blowing a short circuit. And so it takes a lot of strength to hold that contrast of feeling, because it's uncomfortable. And so you have to push past your comfort zone. You have to push past the doubt of, is this going to pay off? Am I going to just be this fool it's all going to blow up in my face? Doesn't matter. You got to commit, and you have to keep showing up and keep risking that investment, because it is all of that energy and certainty you're putting in that can be transferred into the next thing if this doesn't work out. But you have to keep the certainty and faith, and you can't feel like you've lost. You can't feel despair. You can't give up. So decide clearly what you want, and have conviction and the power of your convictions, and keep that, and keep going at it with certainty, right? So intuition and Libra and Justice card coming up together. So intuition card, the Mercury in Cancer, is about becoming aware of those patterns from childhood that drive us, that influence our thoughts and our ideas and the way that we communicate and express ourselves, the way that we are motivated, and the way that we show up and take action. So intuition card is, and with the Justice card, is talking about that tikkun correction that we talk about in Hebrew Kabbalah, where it's about those soul contracts that we come here in this life to work through, so that we can bring the different governing forces within ourselves into balance. We can strengthen our vices and balance them into virtue again. And so that's called tikkun healing. And, it's when we learn, when we heal those parent wounds, and we heal those deep relationship issues that we have, those patterns that we see in our life that keep coming up, when we heal our finances, when we heal those major things that cast a shadow over certain areas of our lives. We all have them. We all have a certain brand of a collection of things that we have to work through. And we all have these people that have been difficult in our lives that we were supposed to have. And we all have people that were inspiring in our lives that we were supposed to have. And so there's all of these like major turning points that were plotted out like an outline in a script, right? But think of like Curb Your Enthusiasm. Around those plot points in the story, the actors improvise. And that's what drives the story. That's where you see where it goes. That's what makes it spontaneous and organic. So we do this tikkun healing in our life as we go through. And so as we're meeting these familiar, instances again, and we're tempted to be triggered and default into our old patterns, the more that we observe those and choose differently and correct them and create new habits and break those old patterns, we're bringing balance. We're doing that tikkun healing. And what that does is it turns our density that kept us down into the negative, that needed that process, that needed the chaos, that needed the pain and the cleansing, that's lightening up. And we're having more and more light that's being revealed, right? We're doing that alchemy of changing that density into light. And that light is blessing. It's abundance. It's fulfillment. It's lightness of spirit. It's freedom of spirit. It's, being that magnetic, high vibrational self that is unencumbered by the patterns of the past, the limiting beliefs, the fear, the lack, the doubt, the lack of faith, the lack of certainty, the selfishness, the limited thinking, the people pleasing or the self pleasing, all the things that leave us feeling empty and void. It's like when we start to cleanse ourselves of those ego layers, we start to feel more deeply fulfilled, and we start to have this lightness of being and an awe and wonder of life. And that's what God-fearing is. It's that magnificent awe that we feel connected to, that we fear disconnecting with. When we are connected with that awe, that's when we're connected with source, with spirit. So yeah, the things that we're meeting right now are huge moments and huge opportunities to break old patterns that can release us to go forward into a new future, into our dreams. And so the thing is, we don't need to waste one single second doubting ourselves, wavering in indecision, or spinning our wheels. We need to not waste any time and just continue to move forward, right? No panic, no muss, no fuss. Keep calm and carry on. But just know this card is all about these. It talks about how these are here for ornamental sake. They're there to be sort of showboaty. These people are rolling in their Rolls Royce. They're living large. They've got big coin. What is theirs is theirs. And they're like, oh no, hell no, you're not taking mine. Hell no, nobody's taking what is mine. I'm staking my claims. I'm rolling in the Bentley of vibration here. So this is about knowing and having that certainty and that feeling of sovereignty and abundance and deservingness and worthiness and faith beyond reason that what is yours, what God, divine will has set aside for you specifically, cannot be taken away. You cannot mess it up. It will not pass you by. The sun and the stars and the moon are aligning every day of your life, of your destiny, to drive you toward the unfoldment of that. And it's going to be your greatest fulfillment and your greatest potential. It's not going to be a drag, right? So we are going towards that inheritance, right? Our divine inheritance with gusto, with no doubt that it is ours. Nothing can take it from us except for our own scarcity and our own fear and our own doubt and our own wishy-washiness, our own indecision, or thinking that we're not ready for it yet or we don't deserve it. That will hold us back. That will take it away from us, because what that does is it throws us into dissonance with our desire, and we're no longer in resonance with our desire. And we want to be in resonance with our desire so we can have the fulfillment of our desire, right? So don't worry about competitive influences coming in and taking what is rightfully yours. What's yours is yours. And so your confidence and your certainty and you surrendering that over to divine and trust makes you even more powerful, even more magnetic. The more you jump into this energy of backstabbing, cheating, doing whatever it takes to get what you want, lying, underhandedness, hiding, going, going to any lengths, to make it happen, like all of that is desperation. And it's low self-worth, and it attracts chaos, and it disconnects you from your fulfillment and the fulfillment of what you want. So also the fact that if what you want requires the cooperation of another individual or a small group of individuals, but let's say that it's this person here in the red vest, they have their back against a wall in the situation, and it's just like they're being pulled on from every direction. So chill and step back and have compassion and empathy and just quietly and confidently do your thing with the assurance that like your vibration will attract them, because they're going to want to get away from all of this nonsense and this drama. So you just show up with your talents and your value and your skills. Don't jump in on all of this. Have mercy on that person, and they'll sense a safety in you. Okay. I feel like there was one. Oh yeah. Also, because if you jump in and take this route, this is what they're going to do. Goodbye. Peace out. Defense mechanism, trigger moment here. It's like trauma, overwhelmed. Trauma happens when you are overwhelmed with something that you don't have the resources to handle at the moment, and you can't get away from it, and you are backed against a corner. That is what causes trauma. Financial trauma, emotional trauma, religious trauma, all kinds of trauma, violent trauma. So this person here is like social trauma. Whatever trauma. It's like, everything is, I'm overwhelmed here, and all of this pressure is like bounce central. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And if someone is reacting in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, then they're going to be reacting from old subconscious patterns, and nothing good can come of that. Remember, the seed level of what we create with is going to flavor everything that we do and everything that is created on top of that. So if you are trying to start a venture with someone, you're trying to work together, if you're trying to get a role, if you're trying to get a job, if you're trying to get a promotion, if you're trying to become, like the person who gets the scholarship or whatever, just remember, the seed level from which you start with will flavor the whole experience. So do that with integrity, do that with honor, and do that with real sovereignty and power and alignment, and in a highbrow way. Keep it on the up and ups. Do it in a just, fair sense, with integrity. But yeah, this will balance out your tikkun and give you all the more favor and blessing and momentum behind anything that you put your hand to. All right, you guys, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident, as long as we don't sabotage ourselves. No self-sabotage. Got fair warning. This is a test of this is not a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is actually the emergency broadcast system letting you know not to fuck yourself. All right. Signing out. Ciao.